Today, we're diving into the world of community building and digital connections. I am thrilled to be joined by Julie Marvel, the founder of Fabulous Ladies of Naples. It's one of Facebook's most vibrant and engaged communities. What started out as a simple idea to connect like-minded people has grown into a powerful platform that's changing how people connect. We'll explore how she built this thriving space, the challenges of managing an online community, and her tips for anyone looking to create their own digital tribe. So, what are we waiting for? Let's just jump right in. Hi, Julie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to dive into this. We were just talking before the show, just kind of scratching the surface about what you have created. And it is so amazing to see it go from zero to where it is now.
Yes, it's grown pretty fast.
It seems to have grown fast. When did you originally start it? And really, what was it that inspired you? Why did you start this?
Yeah, so thank you so much. I started the Facebook group about a year and a half ago.
That's it?
Yes. And so
Oh my gosh.
it was July of 2023. And but I started the group because I already had a community that I had built on a platform called Meetup. So in 2018, I got a divorce. And at that time, I had 2 school-age kids and I was working from home as a family photographer. And, we as women spend our whole lives taking care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our kids, we maybe go to college, we start our career, maybe we don't. But, whatever it is that we're doing keeps us extremely busy and focused on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And we reach a stage in our life when we sort of look around and even maybe we've taken care of our parents or our home and things like that. And once we get to this certain stage, which in our particular group, it tends to be between the ages of 45 and 75 is generally our age range.
Yeah.
And so when women get to that stage in life, they realize that they aren't even sure who they are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sure what they like. They're not sure who they want to spend time with. Maybe they've been spending time with people out of circumstance. Maybe it's their children's friends, parents, or their work friends and things like that. And so they realize even though they might be surrounded by people, they feel isolated and they feel very lonely, which is how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided as part of my healing from my divorce that I needed to make friends. That was my goal. So I joined a couple of meetup groups. I tried them out. They weren't the right fit for me. And so I decided to start my own group. And through that process, it started as a lunch group. We met on a weekday at noon. Once a week for lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. And it started to grow. And so we did that for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so we were just sort of doing it on Meetup.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really grow big.
Is Meetup a platform?
Meetup's an
Okay.
app.
Okay.
It's also a website, but it is a platform. And it's designed for people to come together and meet in person
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. And so it has everything from chess to biking to jogging to women's groups to singles and all kinds of different things. But the problem with Meetup is that it's a difficult platform to navigate and there's not a lot of support. And so when you run into technical issues or things that are happening, there's no one to turn to and you feel out of control, like you can't run the group the way you wish you could run it. And so, but going back to the story is over the course of those years, I started to have people volunteer to help run the group and it started to grow. And so about a year and a half ago, I realized, we need to sort of shift things and make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started the Facebook group and that grew pretty quickly. And then about 6 months ago, we changed from Meetup onto our own website. So now we have a website, we have an accompanying mobile app where we can check in for events and things like that. And so the Facebook group was designed to be a place where people could come together and talk about the friendships that they were building and talk about the upcoming events and then show pictures after the events of what we were doing to kind of generate that discussion. And then, but the ultimate goal of our platform and our group and our organization is to meet in person. And so we design carefully curated in-person events for women around town and we come together in person and instantly connections and friendships are built on the premise that people are not coming there to get anything from you. They just want friendship.
That is so important because how many times are we invited to something? For example, you're invited, someone's like, oh, I want you to go to this luncheon.
Yes.
and you know,
Yeah.
at the end of
There's
the
an
luncheon,
ulterior motive.
how much can you donate,
That's
right?
right. That's
And
right.
it's
Or
a-
what can you buy? Or they're all of a sudden you have
Yes.
someone's putting skincare on your face and you're not sure what's going on.
Right?
Yes.
So I had no idea that you created this with the precipice to make it in person. So you were basically taking the digital friendships
Mhm.
and making them in real life, IRL.
That's where the magic
Right?
happens. I mean, it's such a shift from being in an online community to actual real friendships in
Mhm.
person that you're talking to across the table from. It's a very big difference.
But you knew
So-
that going in that's how you were just using Facebook as a lever.
That's right. That's right. So it's the intention of the group is to meet in person. And it doesn't mean that you can't do a Facebook group with meaning and purpose the way that I'm doing it. But that was the goal for me and my particular organization. So our organization is designed to make people help people find the courage to step outside of their house and offline and in person. But a lot of amazing transformations happen in the online community because that's where people start. And
You're right.
so that's where they discover the group. And, there are people that never make the leap into in person, but they're still feeling that sense of connection and community and support. And so it still serves a purpose whether they're meeting in person or not.
So it's like you're using in marketing lingo, you're using the Facebook page or Facebook group as the top of the funnel.
That's right.
That's how you're getting
Exactly.
them in, and then you're bringing them from that to the in-person events, to the website,
That's right.
to all the other things that you do.
That's right. Exactly.
But you have to get them to Facebook
Yes.
first. So
Yes.
where you went from 0 to what are you at now in members on Facebook?
So our Facebook group has 7,200 women in it. I'm particular about who I let in the group, which is a key piece of the puzzle to a successful Facebook group. So, there's a couple, I don't know if you want me to get into the specifics
Sure,
of building
absolutely.
a group and creating a group.
The more we can peel the onion back and that curtain,
Yeah.
the better, because I know that our listeners are really interested in, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to have a Facebook group for my business.
Yes. Yes.
So yes.
Okay, so I've run a lot of Facebook groups over the years. This is the one that's been the most successful for me. But the first thing you need to decide when you're creating a Facebook group is, do you want it to be public or do you want it to be private? I think that's one of the most decisions that you make. Going into it, you need to know that if you create a private Facebook group, you cannot change it back to public.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But if you
because-
make it public, you can make it private.
Exactly.
But you can't go back.
Exactly. And so the reason they do that is because anybody that joins a private Facebook group is under the impression that all of their information is going to be private, including their posts. And so when you create a public Facebook group, people that are not in your group will still see your post.
Oh, I see.
And so, like, say you came into my group and you posted in my group and it's a public group, Jimmy, your neighbor, who isn't a member of my group, might see it on your feed because you commented. And so, however, it sometimes is a wise idea to start the group out as public to generate interest and to get your first couple of 100 members in there because there's going to be more visibility. People are going to stumble on it more easily. They're going to see it, and you can change it from public to private.
So once you do that, any of the stuff that happened while you're public still would not be shown to other people once you make it private.
That's right. Then
Okay.
everything in the contents of the group is now private. And you can't switch it back to public. But if you get traction, then it might be a good idea. I did that with this group. I kind of didn't mean to because I didn't know that.
Happy
people would-
accidents.
yeah. And so I started it as public, and then it started to grow. And then I had people saying, why is my neighbor able to see my post if he's not in my group and it's a man? And so the red flags kind of started to come up for me because I just didn't know that that was going on. And so then I did switch it to private. But then in hindsight, I was kind of like, well, that actually was, in an accidental good idea because it did start the group growing right from the get-go.
So now, whether you start it public or you start it private, if you start it public, does anybody that want in get in, or do you still have to be the gatekeeper to ask the questions and stuff like that?
So that's a choice. And so as the admin of a Facebook group, you have all kinds of options in terms of privacy and settings and things like that. And so the way that I have my Facebook set up right now is I approve every single person that comes into the group. Facebook has a default setting where if they have an account that's less than a year old, they don't get admitted.
Oh,
And so
really?
that oftentimes will help to filter out the bots and things like
Wow.
that. And so they might get rejected if they've had an account that was hacked. I had someone just message me the other day that I'd met in person, and she said, I can't get in because my Facebook was hacked. Can you? And so I went ahead and I could manually invite her in.
Oh, you could.
And so I was able to do the workaround on that. But I approve every single member. You can design questions to screen to see if people are a good fit for the group.
Sure.
So my questions are, where do you live? Like our group is tailored for our area. And so it's, do you live in the city? Are you a permanent or a seasonal resident? Because in Naples, we have a lot of seasonal people. And then I actually do ask for people's email, and I give that, and that's not a requirement, but it is optional because we do in-person events. And so I say, would you like me to email you when we have in-person events coming up? And so generally people will give their email.
Because you're asking permission.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so there's the 3 questions, and then there's the option to approve all the posts or to not approve all the posts. I do approve every post that goes in the group. I feel like approving the members and approving the posts are two of the most important things to a successful group, because the minute you take off those controls, it's a free-for-all, and it's everybody in their air duct and their car detailing. And that's really what the group ends up to be at the end of the day.
Yeah. Buy for me.
Yeah, and nobody wants a group like that. It's just, it's not serving a purpose. Right. And so I'm pretty tight on what I allow into the group. I also try to look at every single person's profile. So it is time consuming, but I have it dialed where it's maybe 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening. And that's all I spend on it. So, I might get 10 requests during the day or 20, and I check to see if they've answered the questions. And then I look at their Facebook profile, unless it's someone that I know. And then they need to have a tie to our local area, and they need to be a woman. There's just certain things, and I can do it so fast now, but I do look at those things. And so, what you want to think, okay, that's going to take me so much time, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if you're not curating your group, it's not going to be successful. And so you're putting a little bit more work up front to make sure that you have the right people that are there for the right reasons in your group. And so I do take those extra steps, and I have it dialed pretty well. And then what happens is you're setting the tone for the group. So now it starts to grow a little bit more organically and more naturally because you've already done the work up front. And so if someone that I know personally invites another woman into the group, then I probably will admit her without answering the questions, because she didn't even see the questions because someone invited her. But if I see that it will say, when they're getting to request to come in, it will say, Jennifer Johnson invited so-and-so, then I know, okay, you've tapped into someone that might like this group. And so I just go ahead and let them in.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of little controls. There's also something called Admin Assist in the back end of a Facebook group, which you can create automated posts. You can create automated responses. And so I do rely on that a little bit as well. So we have a daily recurring post. So like every Monday, people can post their business information.
Oh, okay.
Every Tuesday, we welcome our new members. Every Wednesday, we put in events that aren't created through our group that are external events. And so, but in order to make that also not take over the group, we require that those comments, that those people, when people have responded, that they're responding in the comments of that post and not in a standalone post.
Because then you can go in and deny those or delete them. Do you delete or deny?
It's a decline of a post. And so if someone doesn't read the directions and they go and post their own business on a standalone, then I decline it, and then you can give feedback. And so when you decline, you write them a little message, please write this in the comments of the business post. And, it's important to be fair. It's important to keep the mission of your goal in mind. And so the mission of my goal isn't to provide an opportunity for everyone to promote their business, but it is a nice feature. And so if I was letting everybody do standalone posts, it would be, 50 to 100 scrolling, and that would be the entire group.
Right.
And so it's not about excluding people's information. It's really just about creating the right experience for the members.
And, I think your members appreciate that.
Right.
Because how many other Facebook groups are you're a part of them, I'm a part of them, where you're just like, seriously, enough with this remember when, and it's not as big as it was, but multi-level marketing, how that took over everything.
Yeah.
And
And it's everywhere. And it's not to say anything negative about anyone's particular business, but the experience, the intention of the group is always top of mind. And so if your intention for your group is to build community, then it can't be about someone else's business all the time. Even, so before I did this, I was a professional photographer. And even when I had my photography group, I didn't go in there every single day and say, it's a new special, we're running a headshot, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
People don't really want to see that all the time because it's not giving them any value.
Right. They tune out.
Right. And so it doesn't give them a reason to come back. Like, I could just go to your website if I want to see what special you're running. I'm not going to intentionally choose to go into your Facebook group to see what specials you're offering unless I'm shopping for that particular thing right now. So there needs to be another reason for people to be there. And if it's friendship, if it's discussion, if it's something that's funny, those things will bring people back.
Right. What was your biggest challenge with starting this Facebook group that you never really thought about? Or it just didn't occur to you that would be a challenge or what roadblock did you have?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I mean, there are things that come up with a Facebook group. I think at the beginning stages, I made the mistake of not asking for an email. And so it was the Facebook group was probably open for a whole year before I did that because I was struggling with, then how do I get those emails onto an email list? And I wish I would have started it sooner because now I have about 3,000 emails on my email list that came from Facebook, and I missed a year of that. And so, I think one of the other things, so our group intention is to create in-person events. And what I've learned is that Facebook is not a great place to post events. It's, you can create an event in Facebook and then it just kind of goes into the Facebook black hole.
It does.
And then people sign up and they don't know they signed up and they can't even find it. Right. They don't even know where it went.
And we can't even find it half the time looking for it ourselves.
We can't find our own event. They can't find our event. And so then no one comes. And so I think that events in Facebook are not ideal. And so, those are some of the challenges that I had. I think, you've got to capture those emails. And I know a lot of times as business owners, we're like, who reads their emails? People read their emails. And for me in particular, my email open rate is like 80%. And the reason it's super, super high is because my members are there for a reason. And the reason that they're there is to see what's going on in person around town. And so they open the emails.
And they know that they're not going to get a spammy email, buy this, do this from you.
Right. The intention is clear.
I'm glad that you said that about events because I have a business book club.
Right.
That I have we have a Facebook page or a Facebook group.
Yes.
And then we also I always post the event.
Yeah.
Nobody ever sees it.
Yeah. No one ever sees it.
I'm like, what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah. No, it's really the part that the way you fix that is not putting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Putting on your website and then sharing it to
email.
Facebook. You create the event and it goes away, even if it's in your group. And so the most important thing is to do it by email or do it on your website or even, to be honest, Meetup is a decent place to post an event because you'll get people that will RSVP and you can communicate with them in that platform. There are other reasons why it didn't work out for me as my group grew. But for someone that's small and wants to do events, I think it's like $15 a month to have a Meetup group to be an organizer. And then you can put that insert that into your email platform, or you can just create the event. The part of the problem with creating in-person events is you need to have some sort of a system or a platform that can handle RSVPs, cancellations, possibly wait lists, payment if you're doing a paid event. And so those things become a little bit more complicated and you just need to sort of shop around for the right platform. But if you're doing something small, you can have people Venmo you and, but I don't recommend using Facebook events for that reason.
Yeah, they get lost.
Yeah.
They go off it to never
They're
land.
somewhere. Who knows where?
Oh my gosh. How about a memorable story? Something memorable that has come out of your Facebook group?
Oh my gosh.
You probably have a lot of them, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, I think the most meaningful thing that I've learned just from this entire experience, but it really helps to have Facebook because, to me, the most important part about having a Facebook group is the promotional piece of it. And it's not about the selling. It's about talking about what we're going to do. And then afterwards showing the photos and the videos about our experience. And so that to me is most important. But one of the most memorable things, and this happens again and again, is that women join our group very quickly after they discover our area. And so we live in a unique area in Naples, Florida, where people are moving here all the time. And so like we went to the beach last night and watched sunset with a bunch of the ladies, and that was an event. And one of the women that came said, I joined your Facebook group months before we moved. And so that way she could start to see what we were doing, what places we were going. She learned about the area, and there she was at the beach next to me after learning so much about our area through the Facebook group and about, she wasn't in town yet, so she couldn't start attending events, but she was able to get oriented with our group and our area. And she knew before she got here that she wanted to join. I met one lady one time, and I think this is such a great story. She was alone, and she was wanting to move down. A lot of people moved to Naples from up north.
Right.
She wanted to move to Florida. She didn't know where she wanted to land. She started in Jacksonville, Florida, and drove the entire coast of Florida. And she discovered that Naples was where she wanted to live, and she moved here.
From top to bottom.
From top to bottom and all the way to Tallahassee. And she picked Naples because, but I think those stories are so great. Yeah. You would not have heard those stories otherwise. But, just the true touching of lives is really the most valuable thing that I find from Facebook is when I tell my story about being in a difficult marriage for 23, we were married 17 years, together 23 years, feeling alone, feeling isolated. When I tell that story in a group of women, the heads start nodding.
Yeah.
They just do. And whether you were in a bad marriage or not, I think, it resonates, and it resonates with men as well. And when I tell the story, it's like people are so busy on the rat race their whole lives, and they settle down for a moment and go, gosh, what has happened? I don't even really know who I am. And the group provides, it kind of enlightens you to that fact, because a lot of our women don't even know that they feel that way until they hear me tell the story about how I was feeling so isolated, so lonely, and needing connection. And then people are starting to wake up to that fact that, I think especially a few years ago with the pandemic, it drove the point home of we don't want to be isolated. We need to be in person with other people. And so the Facebook group provides that first stepping stone to getting to in person. It's not the end all be all for me, but it is a very valuable tool to leading people in the right direction.
And it sounds like there's a lot of bonding over commonalities. And like you said, you're sitting down, you've gone through, you were a mom, or you are a mom, and you're going through the paces, just living day to day, doing what you got to do in the trenches. And then you meet this group of women, and you kind of take a back seat and you just sit and watch.
Yeah.
And you hear them talking.
Yeah.
And then you can identify yourself in them.
Yes.
And that's what gives you that wake up call. And that's such powerful bonding. And it helps you, find yourself, which is obviously, you're almost like, and how you had mentioned how women, this one woman had joined the group even before she moved. It's kind of like, and I don't know if our audience will know this, but the modern day welcome wagon.
Yes.
When you moved into a neighborhood years ago.
Yeah.
There's
pie.
a name. There's a name for it, but I don't know what it is. I just call it the welcome wagon, where somebody would bring you cookies and welcome you to the neighborhood. And here's all the stuff about the community.
Right.
But you're kind of like that for women.
Yeah. Yeah. And, interestingly enough, like we had a party the other night, and there were a couple of women that were there that didn't know each other, that lived in the same neighborhood, and two of them lived on the same street.
Oh my gosh.
And they had never met. And that just speaks to, we're in our houses. It's not like it was in the 40s and the 50s where you did have the welcome wagon with the pie and the whole thing. And so, people kind of keep their heads down. We're on our devices. We're doing our thing in the grocery store line. We're not chatting with the neighbors anymore, which, it's just the nature of the evolution of our society and things like that, which is fine. But if you're feeling like that's not working for you, or if you're feeling like that's not enough for you, and you're not even sure how to start to break out of that, it's just uncomfortable at the beginning. The Facebook group can give you that outlet to start to have a conversation, to give you, it really is scary when these women come to their very first event.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Terrified. Yeah.
You don't know anybody other than.
Yeah. And I think the biggest fear is that everyone else is already friends and I'm not.
Of course.
And so,
belonging.
Our goal of every in-person event is that when they walk in, the hostesses, because I lead the group and then I have volunteers that help me to run the events. And then we have our members who are our staple members that have been doing this a long time. We ask them to go up to the new people and to start introducing them to others.
Yeah.
And so our goal for every event is that the new person or the new people feel like they've been coming for a long time and they belong.
And that breaks that down.
Yeah. And it just makes it so easy. And then they want to come back. And it's just, what creates the success of the group, I believe. And
I can see that.
It's really amazing. It's very meaningful to me.
I think that's cool because I know, and you know how it is to be the new kid on the block, walking into a room of, you have no idea if you're going to know anyone.
Yeah.
And to be welcomed like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing.
It is cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain that engagement with your Facebook group? Is it because of those personalized events that you do outside of Facebook, or do the members just kind of keep it going?
I would say it's a combination for sure. I mean, our group is unique because we do meet in person and not every Facebook group is going to be like that. But I do think it's very important to take an extra step to have personalized connection. So if you're going to do an online community and you're a business owner, entrepreneur, and you have a worldwide community, one of the things that you can do that's not an in-person event is to private message people, and not in a solicitory way or in a way that's asking them to buy something, in a way, like if they're making a comment and they have a question, you can answer the question publicly, but you can also private message them so that they feel that in-person touch.
Right.
People want to feel seen and heard.
They do.
And so whether you're creating in-person events or not, I think that especially as the leader of a group, that it's important that if you see people that are taking an interest, that you go ahead and message them in a very personal way, not in a copy and paste, and I know that sounds like it's going to take a lot of time. And I actually took this advice about private messaging people from someone, and I thought the same thing. I was like, well, gosh, private messaging, that just sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But when you really step back and think about it, you don't really, I have 7,200 women in my group. I have 600 that actively participate in person at our events.
Wow.
So there's a lot of women that aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I want to do is I want to hone in on who is actually participating and who is actually interested in taking that next step. And those are the people that as a business owner, I want to pay attention to because they are the ones that are hearing me the loudest.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important for me as the owner of the group and the moderator of the group to be present. I think my face is in there all the time. I might be doing like a video that's just a live video that's just completely unedited and sloppy and all of that. But it's me. And so I think that people want to be in a relationship with that owner of the group. And the more present you can be, I think it creates more of a personalized experience for members and they'll come back.
I think that's fabulous. But I also, the other thing that I think is so great is, yes, they want you, but they want the authentic you. Right. They don't want you to be all photoshopped. They don't want you to do all the filters. They want you
for
how
sure.
you are.
Yeah.
I was just having this conversation with someone the other day because so many people pick up their phone and they do their selfie or their video and they go, oh no, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
And they're there for 20 minutes trying to get it right to make it perfect.
Yeah.
That's not what your audience wants to see.
Right. I mean, I love nothing more than to turn on Facebook and see you in your closet, like digging around, sweating, but that's awesome. I love it because I'm like, yes, that's Jennifer and she's the clothing queen and she's in the closet. Of course, where else would she be? Right.
I'm whispering because it's like at 5 in the morning going, hey guys, I'm in my closet.
Right. But that's the best. I mean, nobody's perfect.
No.
And it doesn't matter how, what your image is online. And of course you want those. I think there's multiple layers.
Yeah.
So I do think it's important to have professional photos done. I think it's important to dress nice and to do all the things that will create this ambiance of professionalism for whatever foot you're trying to put forward. But then on the flip side of it, when you're trying to make a connection with your audience, They want you to be vulnerable because they're feeling insecure at times, and they want the thing that's going to make them feel connected to you is your flaws.
Exactly.
And you're successful and you're flawed, and they love that.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have plans for expansion. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
What's next?
Okay. So our website is where we have our VIP members. And so on our website, and we have a mobile app that attaches to the website. And so on our website, we have our online community that oversees different chapters. And so we recently, just about a month ago, launched our second chapter. And so our group is called started as Fabulous Ladies of Naples. And now we're starting to revise that into Fabulous Ladies. And we have Fabulous Ladies of Naples, and we have Fabulous Ladies of Carmel, Westfield, Indiana. My husband's from Indiana, so we go there all the time. And so it was a natural first step to do our second chapter there. And
so cool.
Yeah.
I
and
love
so
it.
We're building community up there. We have already 600 members in her Facebook group. And then she's got almost 60 paid members that are doing her VIP events with her now.
Wow.
So, but the more I tell women about this, the more I see a need in many cities.
Of course.
And so we're getting through the beta launch of her chapter and working through all the growing pains of that before we do a third chapter. But once we get that going, then we'll be looking to expand into other cities around the country. And I've got someone in the UK and someone in Dubai that are kind of expressing some interest. And so we're starting to grow. I find that there's a huge need for this no matter where you live. We were wondering about Indiana because so Naples, Florida, is a place where people move to very often. Carmel, Indiana is not as much like that. And so it's more of a place where people grow up and stay. And so we were curious to see, well, what is that going to look like? How is that going to be different? And what we've started to learn is that it doesn't matter if you move somewhere or not. Your kids have now grown up. You're an empty nester. Or even if you're not a mom, your career is starting to become more stable and you have a little more time on your hands. Maybe you were recently divorced. Maybe you're recently widowed. And it's a transitional phase, this between 50 and 70 years old.
Yeah.
You're kind of moving into the next stage. You're not ready to sit around the house and watch TV and retire. You want to go and do things, and you need some people to do that with.
Right.
And so that's been an interesting thing that we've learned is that there is a need all around the world for this.
Everyone wants connection.
Yes.
That's how it all boils down.
Yes.
I have thoroughly enjoyed our time together, and you gave us some really valuable thoughts and ideas around starting Facebook groups and kind of led us on a little path. So if our listeners would like to get in touch with you, Julie, how can they do so?
Yeah. So the website is called fabulousladies.vip. My email is info@fabulousladies.vip. And then our Facebook group is fabulousladiesofnaples.com. There's also Fabulous Ladies of Carmel /Westfield.com, or not .com, but it's the Facebook group. And so you can join if you're in the area. I mean, we encourage you to only join the Facebook group if you live in the local area. And so the best way to follow, and then we are also on Instagram on Fabulous Ladies. So you can follow us on Instagram if you're not in one of the cities to kind of follow and see what we're up to. And then, if you're interested in starting a chapter, I'd encourage you to reach out to me as well because we're looking for new places to grow in the future. So
that is so awesome. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to all of my listeners.